Through my 15 plus years in sales, there's a couple of repeatable patterns that I see in myself when I'm doing well in my sales process and in other folks that I coach, where if you do these 10 or 12 things, you'll really level up your game and be able to operate at a much higher level, close more deals, generate more revenue for your company, and your company will grow kind of on autopilot. Rule number 1, record all of your sales calls. You can use tools like Fathom, which is my personal favorite these days, automatically records every call in Google Meets or Zoom. It's a great way to retain knowledge internally if you're training a new rep. They also have a lot of great insights as to how long you're speaking versus how long your prospect is speaking. Automatically transcribe and summarize every sales conversation. You're able to send that to your prospects afterwards. It's just a really great sales enablement tool that'll save you a ton of time, but also give you something to reflect back on. You can start aggregating some of this data together to figure out common objections that people have and how you're pitching your solution to clients. Rule number 2 is always get some kind of commitment to the next step in the sales process. So if it's a short sales cycle, this could be close the deal, get their credit card information and sign them up today. If it's a slightly longer deal, it could be, hey, the next step in our process is to schedule a kickoff call. We can do that next Tuesday if you'd like. I'm available at 2 o'clock. If it's more of an enterprise, then the biggest goal of a first sales call is just to understand the sales process from a buyer's perspective. Who are the stakeholders? What's the process? Who all needs to be involved? And then booking that next meeting from the initial discovery call once you understand the process. So when I go into a sales conversation, I want to know, like, how long is this going to take? And at the end of this first call or each call, what in my mind is the most ideal outcome from this? It could be, closing the deal or booking the next call or sending an email or proposal to stakeholders. I don't ever go into it not knowing what my goal is. And I usually have like a first, a second, and a third kind of priority goal when I go into a sales conversation. Rule number 3 is define the problem. Figure out why you're talking. The line I use here often is, hey, Bob, thanks for scheduling time. What made you reach out to me today to talk about this problem that you're having? And so that does a couple of things. Why did you reach out to me? Why not somebody else? Today implies some kind of urgency. Specifically, I can help you solve this problem. It has some psychological kind of impact on a prospect. But I ask that question and I shut the hell up. And then they start telling you all about the problems that they're having. And this is discovery. This is the whole point of a discovery call, is for you to get information about the shitty situation that your prospect is in, so that you then can frame the solution that you have to solve their problem. Rule number 4 is define success. Figure out what that dream outcome for a prospective client is and make sure you're able to deliver on that dream that you're selling. A lot of times I find that the first or second or third thing that people say here isn't the real core of it, right? It's like, I want to grow my business. Why do you want to grow your business? So I can not have to fire my employees. Ooh, okay, that's like a different thing than I just want to grow my business. What happens if you fire your employees? My company could go out of business, and that's just super terrible, and that has a deep-seated kind of like psychological impact on you. So it's not just, I want to close more deals, or I want a greener garden, or I want my kids to learn French. There's second and third order effects that are really kind of the psychology you need to use to create urgency with a prospective client when it comes time to close. Rule number 5 is define the budget. It's not rude to ask, especially in a B2B situation, what their budget is. I guarantee you every time you go into a sales conversation, whether it's a coach or consultant or solopreneur or a big old Fortune 500 company, they got a budget in mind. But this is something that I especially see first-time founders and technical founders being really scared of, is talking about money too early or too often. But the fact is, a lot of people will disqualify themselves because their budget expectations are out of line with what your solution costs. So it's often better to talk about this early in a decision. I find actually that this elevates a salesperson in my eyes because I know that they mean business. So this might be a good opportunity for you to introduce a more kind of formal B2B tone to your sales process if you talk about budget kind of early and often. Rule number 6 is send a proposal that day. Follow up on what you said during the sales call and send the information to your prospective client that day. I don't care if it's 4:30 and you got to go to your kid's soccer game, but the most important thing here is to realize that sales is a transfer of confidence. You have confidence that your solution will solve the problem that your prospective client has. You need to impart that confidence on them so they feel good about buying your solution to get them to the promised land. For me, when I'm sending proposals, I like either the built-in quoting mechanism within HubSpot or using a tool like Proposify or PandaDoc to send templatized quotes and proposals to clients with literally just a click of a button. They look great and they're really easy to send. Rule number 7 is follow up until you get a yes or a fuck you. This is hands down the biggest single mistake I see founders making is they give up too early in the follow-up and nurture process. Especially as the sales process gets longer and more complex, the reality is nobody's going to be making a decision after the first call. It can take months or years to close a prospective client. And if you're not following up with them, providing context, providing value, offering better solutions, they're never going to buy your stuff, right? Everybody's busy. It's your job as a sales professional or a founder to be intentional about continuing to help your prospective clients follow up with them, things like case studies and examples and new feature releases and assets to help them realize the value of your solution are what effective follow-ups are all about. Rule number 8 is talk less than 50% of the time. In a sales call, you want to let the prospect do most of the talking. 50% is an absolute minimum. I shoot for about 30% when I'm on a sales call because the goal, especially in a first or second call, is to just deeply understand the problem and the situation that your prospective customer is in. Only then do you have the knowledge and the context to frame that and the problems that they're having in a way where your solution can solve their problems. Rule number 9 is give the price and then shut the fuck up. There's nothing you can do to undermine your entire sales process, but especially the value of your product, than to give a price and then start giving all sorts of qualifications about why something costs so much. You need to have the confidence to charge top dollar for your solution and knowing that you're doing an immense service to your industry and to your clients by providing the solution that you do. Rule number 10 is don't discount ever. The second you start discounting, you devalue your solution in the eyes of your future customers, and they instantly become worse customers. They'll have higher support requests. They'll expect more out of you and your solution because you've given them that opportunity to say, hey, I don't really think that I'm worth the price that we're charging. I think I'm worth 20% less. And so you, customer, now have the ability to kind of pull on that. Don't open that door. Have the confidence in you and your business and your brand to deliver the solutions you do.